Namaste and welcome to Vedic Astrology channel. I'm your host Prasad Mahazani. Help you raise your vibrations and become your true self with the help of Vedic astrologies. These videos will help you raise your vibrations and take you further faster into Vedic astrological studies. If you are not following me on Instagram, this is my ID. Go follow me on Instagram. If you have any question, ask me on Instagram or you can comment below in this video. Before we start talking about the divorce in Vedic astrology, I recommend you to go watch the late marriage video. That will give you some hint about the pressure on your relationship. What are the areas which will delay your relationships? What are the areas, what are the planetary alignments that will delay the marriage? That may be good, that may be bad. But why the delay happens, you will understand from the delay of marriage video. I recommend you to go and watch that video. This video will start making sense to you even more and you will enjoy this. Once you have this knowledge, you will feel empowered. This knowledge is extremely empowering. That's what my intention is. Even if you have this planetary alignment, don't just jump to the conclusion. Visit your astrologer, ask him questions, understand what's happening, and then decide how you are going to respond to it. Your very response has the power to change the situation. The only thing which can change the situation is your response. If you responded it positively with a different mindset, you will have a desirable results. So your response has the power to change the very situation. Let me repeat this. Your response to a situation has the very power to change the situation. Your response to a situation has the power to change that situation. So let's get started with a very sensitive topic, divorce in Vedic astrology. What is divorce? Divorce is a legal separation. And when two people decides to part away legally, it is the divorce. So we are going to cover a few points and then we will be talking about that point from the Vedic astrological perspective for divorce. So let's get started with this. The first thing we have to look is the first and seventh axis. If you have Rahu and Ketu in first and seventh axis, you have to be very careful in relationship matters. Okay, again, the lords, their relationships will change the game. So don't just jump to the conclusion, I have Rahu in the first house, so I'm going to get divorced. No, it doesn't work like that. What if you have Rahu in the first house and the first lord is exalted somewhere, and or if Jupiter is aspecting the Rahu? We never know, right? So don't just jump to the conclusion with the single point. Don't jump to any conclusion with a single consideration. Does not matter how big it is. If you are considering only one point, don't jump to the conclusion. Okay, so first thing is, if you have Rahu and Ketu in the first house, you have to be very careful in the relationship. I'm purposely not using the words that you will get divorced or you will have a difficult relationship, because people just jump to the conclusion. I don't want you to get scared of this. I want you to get empowered. Please understand. There may be things which I may not tell you because you will get scared of that. And those things may have been corrected by some of the planetary alignments which we never know. So we are not going to talk conclusively. I'm not using the words that you will get divorced, you will have difficulties, you will never get up. I never use these words. Instead, I use the words, you have to be very cautious of the relationships, which is very true. So please understand, I'm not going to use these words. Try to respond and try to think how you can practically overcome this situation. That should be our aim. So let's get started. So the first thing we considered is a Rahu Ketu in the first seven axis. The Rahu and Ketu in first and seventh axis makes the relationship your theme of the life. So if you have Ketu in the first house or seventh house, you're reluctant about yourself or your partner. Either ways, you're not interested, or you will have been, or you will not be interested into the relationships, or you will be obsessed about it. So Rahu and Ketu in the first 7 axis needs to be handled with care. Next thing we have to look for is the Venus. We have talked about this in the late marriage video. Same principle applies here. If you have afflicted Venus, if you have Venus in difficult situation, you know what makes Venus difficult. Okay, so if you have Venus difficult, you might face difficulty in your relationships. Extreme pressures into relationship leads to the divorce. There are few marriages where the partners are not getting along, but they don't get divorced. Why? Because the legal part of it, the Saturn part of it, is not concluding. It is not allowing them to separate legally. We'll talk about that later. There are few planets which are separative in nature. Which are those planets? Mars, Saturn, Sun, and Rahu Ketu. So these 4 planets, if you have these 4 planets in the 7th house, 8th house, 6th house, 4th house, so this can create a problem in your relationship. Okay, so what is the next important point to consider in divorce in Vedic astrology? The next thing to consider is Darakaraka. What is Darakaraka in Vedic astrology? Darakaraka is Gemini concept. Darakaraka literally is a planet with the lowest degree. Just go to your horoscope in planetary details, just check out which is the planet with the lowest planet, or which is the planet with the lowest degrees. The planet with the lowest degrees becomes your Darakaraka. And the Darakaraka is the significator for your marriage. If you have a Darakaraka which is afflicted, or maybe not having a strength, or maybe in a difficult situation or difficult position, it can create problem in your relationships. Next thing to look for is a Uppapada Lagna. We are going to make a different video on Uppapada Lagna, but Uppa literally means the next. Like we have a captain, we have a vice captain. We have a president, we have a vice president. So we have Pada and we have Uppapada. Uppapada is a Gemini concept, and it is an advanced concept, but this Uppapada is very important from marriage perspective. So if you have a Uppapada Lagna afflicted, and more so the second house from the Uppapada Lagna is even more important from the divorce and marriage perspective. Okay, so if you have the second house, if you have these separative planets, Rahu, Ketu, Mars, Sun, Saturn, not Saturn, I won't say Saturn, but Mars, Rahu, Ketu, Sun for sure. If you have these planets in the second house of your Uppapada Lagna, you will face the difficulty in the relationship, especially the marital relationship. The next thing we have to discuss is the important houses to consider while discussing the divorce in Vedic astrology. Most important houses are 1 and 7 because it is about yourself and your spouse. We have discussed this in the late marriage video, so I won't repeat that. To go watch that video, better idea about these importance of these 1-7 axis. Okay, so we have to look for the house number 1, house number 7. But apart from these, what are the important houses we should consider while judging the divorce in Vedic astrology? I won't say judging the divorce, but looking for the trouble in your relationships is the 4th house, 6th house, 8th house, and the 12th house. Why 6th house? 6th house is the house of the legal matters, and divorce is a legal matter. More so, it is 12th to the 7th. So 6th house is a divorce, which is a loss of the 7th house, that is the loss of marriage. So it becomes important. Similarly, 12th house is 12th to the ascendant. Just like 1 and 7, 6 and 12 are also important. What is the significance of the 4th house? 4th house is the house of happiness, and 4th house is the root house for the moksha trikona houses. Okay, so the 4th house is the house of happiness. Your happiness is very much decided from the 4th house, the 4th lord. If you have 4th lord in 10th house, your happiness is going to your workplace. If you have your 4th lord in the 5th house, your happiness is going to the 5th house, which is what? About your hobbies, creative aspects, children, education. So your happiness is going there. But what if your 4th house is, your 4th lord is going into the 12th house? 12th house is about the isolation. So you find peace in isolation. It works like this. Okay, so the 4th house and the 4th lord is very much important for your happiness, and your happiness from the marriage. What is the importance of the 8th house? 8th house is a Dushtana house. Dushtana house, 8th house is house of ups and downs. 8th house is the house of sex. 8th house is the Dhanasthan for your 7th house. 8th house is the house which gives strength to the 7th house. So if you have separative planets, Mars, Rahu, Sun, and if they are very difficult and afflicted, placed into this house, can create problem, or extreme of these elements can lead to severe relationship problems, because it is next to the 7th house. So 6, 7, 8, 4, 12 and 1 are very important houses. But here are some exceptions to this. If you have Mars and Saturn in the 7th house, is very difficult position, right? We have learned this. But if you have Mars in the sign of Cancer conjunct Saturn in the 7th house, surprisingly it gives good results. And if you have Moon and Venus in first 7 axes, it becomes difficult for the marriage. These two are the exceptions, of course. Let's look at some of the questions you guys ask me on the community tab of our channel. Yes, our channel has a community tab, and I'll be replying and responding to all the questions on the community tab as well. I try to respond to most of the comments as much as, but the problem with that is I don't get the notification for the replies you guys make. So I have to make an extra effort to search for those comments. Okay, anyways, so we are going to cover the questions our friends have asked on the community tab. So let's get started with that. The first question is Jyotiraditya Dwivedi. Sir, please make a video on Rahu Ketu axis as soon as possible. Yes, Jyotiraditya, it's we are going to make that soon. Sayani Saha, Saturn in ascendant can delay marriage. Can it break a marriage? Sayani, yes, Saturn is a separative planet, but it all depends upon many other things. Suppose you have Saturn in the first house, in a Vrishchik Rashi, in a Scorpio sign. Okay, so it is directly looking at the 7th house. It can bring the difficulties in the relationship. It will make you lazy sometimes. That can be the triggering point for your relationship problems. But if you have the Venus exalted, the 7th lord is exalted into the 5th house of romance and is aspected by the Jupiter in the 9th house, things will change, because 9th house, from 9th house it will also aspect the Saturn. So the Saturn in the first house won't be the same. Okay, so you have to look the complete picture before interpreting it. But if you just ask me single question, Saturn in the first house can delay the marriage, yes, it will. Next question is Maisha Zia. It said that Jupiter 6 places away from moon leads to that yoga. Zia, you may be talking about Daridra yoga, I suppose. We'll be covering the yogas as well. Next question is from Libin Matthews. If Shani is in enemy sign Scorpio and aspects house of partner, we have already discussed this point, but yes, Saturn can bring the delay and hardships into the relationship, but you need to see the other planets as well. Don't jump to the conclusion with just single planetary placements. Why Saturn in the 6th house makes a person dedicated to her life partner but still get attracted to others? Personally, I have not observed this because 7th house Saturn people are very serious about their relationships. Even if you have the Saturn ruling the house, you are more attracted towards a mature partner as a generic rule because it is ruled by Saturn. So you look for a Saturnian qualities in your partner. Okay. The next question is from Nitika. She's saying, and my question is it always true that the Lord of the 7th house is in 6th house, or a people get divorced, or there are other combinations as well? Or what if Dasha of that planet comes at the age of 40, or then it can also happen during Antardasha of the planet, and how can Jupiter or Venus plays part in saving the marriage? Nitika. So here is the thing about the exception part of it. If you have 7th lord in the 6th house is definitely not a positive sign for the 7th house because it is 12th from the 7th house. More so it is Dushtana. More so it is about the legal matters. So divorce is also one of the legal matters. So it is not a positive sign, but there is one combination wherein if you have 7th lord in the 6th house and Rahu and Venus are conjunct, you will have a wonderful marriage. Okay, this is an exception. And how Venus and Jupiter can save? If Jupiter is aspecting, if the Lord is exalted, if Venus is exalted, if Venus is creating a Panchamahapurush Yoga, is very good strength wise in Chadbala and all that stuff, then it can save these afflictions. So with so Venus can save the marriage in such cases. Next question is from Laksh Mehta. Make a video on timing of love affairs, dasha, antardasha, or transit of planet. I'm sure you are gonna get maximum views on this topic. Laksh, thanks for your suggestions. We'll definitely try to make a video on the topic you have suggested. Thank you. Thanks for your love and support. Keep sharing and keep watching Pramanic Astrology channel. Next question is from Jay Kumar. What is your take on Mars in Mesh Rashi, Mesh Lagna, and Venus in Libra, the 7th house? Mars in 1st house and Venus in the 7th house. When Mars and Venus are in trinal position, 159 houses away from each other, they work in sync. They are trine, they are aligned. So these energies work best when they are trine. But when they are in Kendra from each other, there is some friction. But more than this 1-7 axis for Mars and Venus, I would say it is even more difficult for Moon and Venus. If you have Moon and Venus opposite of each other in first 7, difficult. More than this, Mars, Mesh Mars in 1st and Libra Venus in 7th house. Okay. So yes, these are the questions. I have to give one shout out to Chaitanya Mundle. So Chaitanya, hi. So keep posting in the community tab. I'll be sharing and posting and asking you in polls and all that stuff in the community tab. Active actively participate into all the polls, because that is what is giving me the indication of what you guys want to watch. Let us summarize divorce in Vedic astrology. The first thing to consider while judging the divorce in Vedic astrology is the first 7 axes in your horoscope, the lords of it. The next thing to consider is the Karaka Venus. The third thing to consider is the separative planets like Mars, Sun, Rahu, Ketu. The next thing we consider is Upapada Lagna. The Upapada Lagna and the second house from the Upapada Lagna is very important to judge when we are talking about the divorce in Vedic astrology. If you have the strong benefic impact on these houses, you will have a strong marriage. Next thing to consider is the Darakaraka. The placement of Darakaraka in D1 is very important, and the aspects and conjunctions of the Darakaraka with other planets is very, very important. So this was divorce in Vedic astrology. As much as I could hold, grasp and share with you guys. If you are new to my channel, please consider subscribing. You will be getting Vedic astrological videos just like this one. Hit that like button, subscribe if you aren't already, and sending you tons of positive energy, sending you high vibes. See you in the next videos. Love and peace.